We're holding by the 8th of the Kinyanim, in the Memches Kinyanim. The 8th Kinyan is the Kinyan of Simcha. That one of the ways to acquire Torah, a Kinyan of Torah, is through Simcha, which will loosely translate as happiness. That happiness is a means to acquire Torah. What's the pshat? How could it be? There's a famous Ruach Chaim on the Mishnah. Ruach Chaim. Chaim Volozhin is Perish in Mishnah and Mishnah's Pirkei Avos. Parallels many of the ideas presented in Nefesh Chaim. In fact, you have a lot of editions of the Nefesh Chaim that will show you the paragraphs that parallel each other from the Nefesh Chaim and reference the ones to Ruach Chaim back and forth. So Ruach Chaim Volozhin is an explanation of Simcha. He explains there's two reasons or two explanations of how Simcha is a means to acquire Torah. First of all, it says, Ki alomei b'simcha b'sho'a achas yomid yoser harbe mima shilbon kama shois b'atzvus. It says if somebody is able to sit down for 1 hour and learn with a geschmack, learn mamish happy about it, and really excited about his learning, and really enjoying his learning, then practically the quantity that he will accomplish in that 1 hour will trump and will be so many times greater than what he can learn many hours ba'atzvus. In other words, Simcha is a mechanism to assist the person to learn faster, to learn more qualitatively, but to accomplish more in a shorter amount of time. That's explanation number one. Says the Ruach Chaim. Explanation number two says, Ki gam ha-Torah, the Torah itself, is sha'ashuim shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Furthermore, he says Torah is the toys. It's the play toys of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And therefore, it necessitates us to have a great happiness when we get to play, when we get to enjoy something so profound and something so amazing. Two separate ideas. One is a practical advice. You want to learn better, you want to learn more, you want to accomplish, learn b'simcha. It's the means, it's the mechanism to accomplish more. Alternatively, says the Ruach Chaim, there's a fundamental reason that our learning should be b'simcha. There's a qualitative reason that changes our learning because we are doing it b'simcha. Not just because we can accomplish, but it's the appropriate way to learn. It's the best way to learn because guess what? We have the great opportunity to enjoy the toys that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is using. Imagine for a moment that you're given the opportunity to go play basketball, but not just to play basketball. It's hard to imagine with the times that we're in, but imagine you have an opportunity to go play basketball, not just to go play basketball, you are invited. You are invited to play a game of 5-on-5 in Madison Square Gardens with the Knicks court ready and polished, and you are going to enjoy your game of basketball that much more because it no longer is just another game of basketball. All of a sudden, this game of basketball became an event. It became something special because I'm playing ball on the same court as the New York Knicks, however good or bad they may be or were. Nonetheless, I have the opportunity to be in a NBA professional arena. It changes the whole game. Lahavdil, says the Ruach Chaim, when a person approaches Torah, realizing, understanding, in internalizing the message that Torah is the Sha'ashuim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it necessitates, it requires, it automatically breeds a Simcha, that a person will feel that Simcha in his learning. He'll be able to have a Simcha in his learning because he's not just getting more information, but he's in fact playing the game with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Two separate fundamental ideas as to why Simcha is a Kinyan. First of all, it accomplishes more. Second of all, because it's the appropriate way to do things. Let's focus for a few moments now. Why is it, or what's the pshat, I should say, that Simcha assists a person to accomplish more, to quantitatively, qualitatively accomplish more in his learning? The Gemara tells us in Shabbos, Ein Shechina Shruya Loi Mitech Atzlus Loi Mitech Atzlus, and it continues and it continues and continues. That when a person is Atzlus, is sad, or Atzlus is lazy, he won't have Hashruas Hashchina. The Shechina won't be with him. In other words, in order to have a Hashruas Hashchina, a person needs to overcome his depression. He needs to overcome his laziness. The Gemara continues in Shabbos Daf Lamed that Rabbah would always open up his shir b'milsa de b'dichusa and have all the rabbis laughing, and only afterwards would they sit and learn be'ema. Only afterwards would they sit down and learn seriously. It was important. It was a very important part of the preamble of shir that everyone should have a good joke, a stand-up comedian. What's the Hesber Hadover? Why is that the case? There's a pointed ha'ara from Chaim Vital in Shari Kedusha. Chaim Vital, the Talmud Muvak of the Arizal, in the 1600s, living in Tzvat. You're going back many, many years. And when you read through this section of Shari Kedusha, you'd mamish think that he was living in the year 2020, opening up psychology textbooks left and right, and to be able to understand everything perfectly. Says Chaim Vital over there in Shari Kedusha the following. When a person is upset, when he's truly upset, and he really feels that depression kicking in, he feels that sadness affecting him, says Reb Chaim Vital, that is the Yetzer Hara attacking a person. Why? Because ha'atzvus goyremes menias ha'avoda v'kiyam ha'mitzvahs u'bitul esak ha'teira. Ukvanas ha'tfila, machshava teiva, la'avodas Hashem. All of these things are completely eradicated, are wiped out, are negated because of atzvus. Atzvus affects a person's entire being. In the shar for aschalas, that the Yetzer Hara begins to attack us is by making us feel down and depressed. That there's no to'eles in our avodas Hashem. In other words, depression kicks in when a person feels that he's undervalued or worthless, better yet. As hard as I try, I never succeed. I've gone through the Gemara 100 times and I cannot remember it. And that leads to a tremendous amount of depression, almost to yeush, to giving up hope for any success at all. Imagine a person goes to take his driver test. And he goes the first time, his friend said it's no big deal, he didn't even study, he goes and takes the test and he fails miserably. Okay, got a little patch in the face, he now realized a little bit it's not that easy. So he goes home and he studies a second time, and Imam reads through the book, and he got for the cover, goes back to take his driver's test, and he fails a second time. Now he's beginning to feel there's no good rationale why I failed the second time. He's beginning to feel depressed. He's beginning to feel down on himself. Can I do this? Am I capable? Can I accomplish? So he goes back a third time, and you can all imagine for a moment that if he would fail that third time, that's mamish could be a fatal mistake. He might never try to drive again in his life. He might never want to do it again, never to face the reality in front of him that it's not so simple, it's not so easy. He might not have it in him. I remember when I was in high school, I was in 10th grade, and there was an 11th grader who joined the wrestling team. A wonderful boy who I got so much mussar from him 10, 15 years later. This boy defined the terminology roly-poly when he walked onto the mat. His baby fat he had never overcome the baby fat, never lost any of it. And he comes onto the wrestling mat, a rigorous, difficult activity, very intense training, and it's time to do push-ups right at the beginning of practice. The coach says everyone in push-up position, and this boy could not even get into a proper push-up position. That's how weak he was. That's how little physical activity, exercise he had done in his life. And not only did he fail once or twice or 10 times, his first season wrestling in Yeshiva Atlanta, his first season he went 0-16. He lost all 16 matches. The easy response for any of us after being defeated so much would have been just say, it's not my thing. I don't have it in me. It's not for me. But the musar I chapped from this boy is that when he came back senior year, his last year in high school, comes back to wrestling tryouts the following year, not only did the boy show up, he showed up in excellent shape, he showed up rearing to go, and he was ready. Did he go undefeated? No. Did he do well? Decent. But can imagine how hard it was to overcome that defeat and that failure. The gut reaction of atzvus, the gut reaction of depression, of defeat, is to get down on ourselves, and that leads to atzlus. That leads to laziness. Whenever we're feeling really sad, really down, we want to crumble up in a ball and just go to sleep. Whether it's for an hour or 2, 20 or 30. When a person feels that he can't accomplish, he doesn't want to attack the problem, he wants to run away. And that leads to atzlus. And therefore, says Reb Chaim Vital, the Yetzer Hara's first attack on the person is to make him believe that he cannot accomplish, cannot succeed. It's to make him feel depressed, to make him feel that he's worthless. And Memela, that leads to bittul Eisek HaTeira, bittul Kavanas HaTefillah, bittul Machshavat Teva Avodas Hashem. It leads to all of these horrible, horrible things that will occur. Many of you will remember the Vart from the Mesilas Yesharim. The Mesilas Yesharim in discussing Zerizus. Discussing Zerizus is the antithesis of Zerizus is Atzlus mitoich Atzlus. Is laziness, that the derivative that comes from depression. You want to be successful. You want to be accomplished. The easy answer is to overcome that depression and to overcome that laziness. And says the Mesilas Yesharim, the mafteach to overcoming atzlus and atzlus is to recognize that Hashem put us in that circumstance. In other words, if I recognize something that's difficult for me to accomplish the first time, the second time, the third time, and all I see is the challenge in front of me, it's very easy to get depressed. But if I recognize that Hashem put me in this predicament for my own sake and my own benefit, then it's much more difficult, not only difficult, but it's much less likely that a person will be led to depression and to laziness. Hashem wants me to overcome this challenge. He's just challenging me. I could do it. I have the potential. Hashem gave me that potential. Hashem put me here, or he told me that I can't succeed here. But it's all me'es Hashem yisbarach. It's much easier to accomplish and to succeed. Therefore, the Kinyan, the 8th Kinyan in Kinyan of Torah is Simcha. You want to be successful, you have to have reasons. You have to have alacrity. You have to have an energy. It will cause us to learn more, to learn better. It will cause us to learn quantitatively and qualitatively, accomplish much, much more in our learning. That's the first hesber that the Ruach Chaim presents for the Kinyan of Simcha. The second hesber of Simcha, Mirza Hashem, we will develop and elaborate upon tomorrow.